Hello, hello, hello. It's time to read. Last we left off, we were talking about the new woman, Eve, who is now Denny's wife. Let's get back to reading. She devoted herself to the baby before it was even born. She touched it regularly through her tightly stretched skin. She sang to it and danced with it to the music she played on the stereo. She learned how to make it move around by drinking orange juice, which she did frequently. She once asked if I wanted to know what it felt like, and she did. And I did. So she held my face against her belly after she had drunk the juice, and I felt it move. It was hard to me to imagine exactly what was going on behind the magic curtain, but I knew what was inside of her was separate from her, and it had a will of its own. I admire the female gender, the life makers. It must be amazing to have a body that can carry an entire creature inside. I mean, other than a tapeworm which I've had. That doesn't count, really. The life that Eve had inside her was something she had made. She and Danny had made it together. I wished at the time the baby would look like me. I remember the day the baby arrived. I had just reached adulthood, 2 years by calendar count. Denny was in Daytona, Florida for the drive of his career. He had spent the entire year contacting sponsors, begging, pleading, and hustling. One day he got lucky and found the right person in the hotel lobby to say, "You've got guts, son. Call me tomorrow." Thus he found his long-sought sponsor dollars and was able to buy a seat in a Porsche 993 for the 24-hour race at Daytona. Endurance racing is not for the meek. 4 drivers, each spending 6 hours behind the wheel of a loud, powerful race car, is an exercise that determines 4 hours is as unpredictable as it is exciting. That Danny was presented with a chance to drive in it the same year that his daughter would be born was one of those coincidences that was open to interpretation. Eve was dismayed by the unfortunate timing of the events. Danny celebrated a great opportunity and the feeling that he had everything he could possibly ask for. Still, the timing was off. On the day of the race, Eve felt the contractions and called the midwives. They came and invaded our home and quickly took charge. Later that evening, as Denny was driving to stood there with 2 round ladies who helped her by holding her arms. Then with a monstrous bellow that seemed to last an hour, out squirted a little wet blob that wriggled spastically and then cried out. The ladies helped Eve into her bed, resting the tiny purple thing on her chest until the baby's searching mouth found Eve's breast and began to feed. "Can I have a minute alone?" Eve started. "Of course," one of the ladies said, moving to the door. "Come with us, puppy," the other lady said to me on our way out. "No," Eve stopped them. "He can stay." I could stay. Despite myself, I felt proud to be included in Eve's inner circle. The 2 ladies bustled off, and I watched in fascination as Eve suckled her new babe. After a few minutes, my attention drifted from the baby's first meal to Eve's face, and I saw that she was crying, and I wondered why. She let her free hand dangle onto the bedside, her fingers near my muzzle. I hesitated. I didn't want to presume she was beckoning me, but then her fingers wiggled and her eyes caught mine, and I knew she was calling me. I bumped her hand with my nose. She lifted her fingers to the crown of my head and scratched, still crying, her baby still nursing. "I know I told him to go," she said to me, referring to Danny. "I know I insisted he go. I know." Tears ran down her cheeks. "But I so wish he was here." I had no idea what to do, but I knew not to move. She needed me there. "Will you always promise to protect her?" She asked. She wasn't asking me. She was asking, and I was merely put to the obligation. I understood that as a dog, I could never be as connected as I truly desired.
Yet I realized at that moment I could be something else. I could provide something of need to people around me. I could comfort Eve when Danny was away. I could protect Eve's baby. And while I would always want more in a sense, I had found a place to begin. The next day, Danny came home from Daytona, Florida, unhappy. His mood immediately changed when he held his little girl, whom they named Zoe, not after me, but after Eve's grandmother. "Do you see my little angel, Ens?" he asked me. "Did I see her? I practically birthed her." That was funny last night. Alright, I hope you guys are enjoying this series. I really did work very hard on this, trying to read everything correctly, which I don't. So, see you guys in part 6. I think so, right? Right.